Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond Click and Cliff. This is Cliff with another podcast for you today. It's a podcast of life experiences, journeys, and stories of my childhood, growing up, and even some present stuff. Something for you to listen to while you're doing stuff on out and about, cleaning your house, doing whatever you're doing, having me on in the background, just keeping you company and telling you some good stories, I think. I don't know. Again, I want to thank everybody who is subscribed to this channel. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Last week, we talked about staying in school and telling about all my shenanigans when I was in high school and stuff, and I thought it was a pretty good podcast. But today, we're going to tell you a story about the present. Anybody that knows me knows I like the outdoors. I like nature. I like fishing. When I was able to hike, I hiked just to get out in the nature and be involved in it. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a conservationist agent. Me living in Missouri, so I've been a Missouri conservationist. That was my dream job, and I just didn't pursue it. I wish I did, kind of, but I had a good career in what I did, so I'm not ashamed of it. But anywho, we went to this last weekend. It was nice. This Saturday, my wife was off work, and we thought, well, we'll take a one-day vacation is what we called it, where we just set out for an adventure for one day. We just moved in this area about a year ago, and not really knowing what's in our surrounding area. All right, so we for some reason I got on Facebook one day, and this place popped up, and it's called the Otter Slough. I'm like, what is Otter Slough? And so I clicked on it. Thought, man, this is probably one of those fake posts, nothing's really there. But it came up to the Missouri Conservationist page, and it showed some pictures. Oh, that's pretty neat. This is probably nowhere close to me. Clicked on it. 20 minutes away. Well, so I screen shared the picture to my wife. I said, we need to go check this place out one day. Well, this day was this last Saturday. We went. Of course, there's pictures on my Instagram and TikTok, and you've seen some pictures in the post on this channel. So, but if you want to wait till at the end of the movie, I'll put a little picture video up at the end of this podcast. Or if you want to look at this scenery with me, you can. So I'll do that at the very end. So stay tuned. Past the credits, there'll be a special presentation. But anyway, we went there. We were going to take this day to go do vacation. So we loaded up the car, didn't think of it, and we went there. We weren't really expecting much because for one, some of this stuff requires a trail. We have a state park just right in this town. We went, and it's a hiking trail, and I can't hike no more, and it's not handicap accessible. But it's something people can walk through and look at nature. I'm kind of thinking about trying it again. We'll see. So I didn't think anything much of this. But boy, we got into this park, and oh my goodness, it was humongous. I forgot how many acres it was. You could drive through like 90% of it. Of course, there was roads that was authorized vehicle only, but we stayed on the path, the gravel road. That's what they told us to stay on. It took us 2.5 hours to get through it. I'm telling you. And it was handicap accessible. So me, I have trouble walking. So I do bring a wheelchair every now and then. And most of it was all, you could get in a wheelchair and go down these trails. It was awesome, man. Me and my wife and my kiddo went bird watching. We saw some birds. We saw deer, snakes, a bunch of birds. This big old slough full of fish. People were fishing on the side. We walked out on a dock. You can actually put a boat in there. I don't think you could put a big old bass boat or a pontoon. It's probably, a little John boat with a little bit of motor. You can troll out there and fish out of a boat if you had one. I may be getting me one. I don't know. But it was awesome. It was fun. I always encourage anybody to go out there with their family because it's worth it. But I'll tell you the little story. We pull in. Of course, I take pictures. I took as many pictures I've ever taken in my life, even on social media. Man, I took like 100 pictures because everywhere you turn around, man, there was a different kind of bird. You saw deer, snakes, even snakes, nature, a whole bunch of flowers, trees. Everywhere you look, there was nature, man. And if you're a nature guy, I suggest to go to travel to your conservation areas and parks and go check them out and see what you see. We saw, and some of these animals are not shy because they're used to seeing these cars and stuff. So, you could almost pet the deer. Walk up there and pet him almost. It was amazing. But we got in the park and not knowing what we were doing. We just driving around the slough, looking and see what we saw. We saw turtles, geese, and we start looking. Hey, there's a trail. What's this? And then it says bird watching. So if you're like bird watching, this is a good spot to go to. So me and the wife got out. We went down the pathway. Now the path was kind of broken because there was a tree that fell. I'm assuming from one of the storms, and kind of tore up a path, so we couldn't go past a certain point. But we made it pretty far down there. They had benches in there around a tree. We, take a break and sit down and see what you see. Birds were just talking to each other. It was amazing. They were just chirping here, chirping there, chirp, chirp, chirp everywhere. Beautiful sight. And saw lizards. A bunch of nature out there, man, and it was beautiful. I was like, man, it couldn't get no better. To me, if you like that kind of thing, it doesn't get any better than that. Beautiful day. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. It was a beautiful day to do this. It was sunny at that time. It started raining when we got home, but before that, it was all nice. It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. It was comfortable, and you were able to enjoy yourselves. And, that was fun. But, of course, then you got to go, we get down to that area. We start driving, looking around, and we saw, like I said, a couple of snakes. I tried to take pictures, but they were too fast. I couldn't get them. Saw a deer. Then we saw another path, and there was a person sitting in their car eating lunch. We pulled up, and I wasn't sure what was down there. There was a concrete path going into the woods, and the guy said, "Hey, I just saw a deer come through there, and go up there. There's a place where you can look." It was a blind. Conservation built a blind. You walk up there, they have a bunch of holes. You can look out in the field and see if there's any deer. And so we rode out there, across the bridge. The bridge was kind of, man, I'm a pretty big boy, and I'm not very fond of heights, but made it through there. Sat there for a minute, took a picture through a window, and didn't see a deer there, but beautiful grass, a field. You see a thicket. So they set it up for deer to be there. Stood there for about 10, 15 minutes, came back to the car, and started driving again. Drove all the way to the end. But then we turned around, got back, and there was a log cabin. So we drove up to the log cabin. There was another lookout there going towards a mossy, swampy area. It was beautiful, man. I mean, moss was on the top of the water. Beautiful. It's just beautiful. It was so surreal. I mean, it was perfect. Looked out there. We saw birds and ducks floating on the water. The log cabin was closed on Saturday. They're only open Monday through Friday. Of course, this being a Saturday, they weren't open. So, but we were able to look through the windows. Pretty nice, a place to eat and stuff like that. You know, information, buy bird seed and go out there and feed the birds. Stuff for families, things to do. So you can go fishing out there, hunting, and everything. You got to schedule your hunt, so you can't just pull up there willy-nilly and go hunting. You got to schedule it and all that, and they got to know that you're out there. And fishing, of course, you got to have the standard fishing license. You can go out there anytime. You don't have to check in to go fishing. We didn't go fishing, but we're going to. We are going to. Because a bunch of, we saw fish jumping. There's fish in there, so we may go back and just spend the day fishing at some point. Good times. But we looked at that, drove around some more. And of course, we came out, we covered I think it took us 2.5 hours. I think we covered driving. So you can tell kind of how big it is. Of course, that involves stopping, getting out, going on these trails, looking around, and coming back. I mean, I think if you drove just right through it, 10, 15 minutes. But we were driving at a snail's pace because we wanted to see nature. We took in the scenery. And we see what the place was all about. And we stopped, and like I said, we went to those things. Of course, they had a picnic area where you can bring a picnic lunch. They had little grills there. You can have a little barbecue grill there and eat, fix some food for lunch. And I think it's a good family spot. And I thought it was interesting going there. I thought it was fun. And I'll tell you what, my daughter enjoyed it. She said it a few times, man, this is kind of fun. This is fun. At first she wasn't too sure because she's not really a nature person. She likes being inside of a house or a structure on her phone, no internet. Made one rule. The only time you can use your phone is to take a picture. We couldn't be on the interwebs. We couldn't be on social media. And I would sworn she would probably rebel, but she didn't. She actually enjoyed it and she loved it. And that warmed my heart. It really did. My wife enjoyed it. We had fun. We had a good day. And we don't get very many of them here the last few months, but we had a good day. And that's all. That is the most important thing, man. Our day at the Otter Slough was awesome. I cannot ask for a better day. I've always said on this podcast, and even to my friends, you can ask any one of my friends, anytime you can make memories, either with your children or for your family, take that opportunity. Because, we're not going to be here for long. We're only here for a certain amount of time. And that's facts. And later in life, your kids can say, you know what, we went to this awesome place with my dad, and I want to take my kids there because we had fun that day with my dad. I want to share the same experience. or just make them smile when they're having a bad day and they think about you and they can smile and say, you know what, we had a good day that day. And that's the goal I've always had in this. So we don't really take vacations, so I think we're going to try to do something once a month to get away for a day. I think that's perfect. It's either going somewhere together as a family or checking another place out. There's another place that we found on the way home that we may go to one day. And we can go back to Otter Slough and do some fishing that day or something maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's how it is, man. This is what we do. This is what I do. I like that kind of stuff. So I had a good day. Had a good weekend. Of course, we left the house about 8 o'clock that morning. And we got back about 1. We stopped and ate lunch in the town that it was in, and so we stopped and ate. Went to the park and ate, so that was fun. And then we came home, and the rest of the day I was done with anything. I just rested the rest of the day. Didn't do very much anything. Watched TV. Relaxed. And that's what that day was about. It was just a day for relaxation and having a little fun with the family. Guys, that was my trip to Otter Slough. Like I said, if you want to, after I end this podcast part and put right afterwards, I'll put the video up of the pictures, video that I made, and hopefully you all enjoy it. Guys, this is going to be it. Hope you enjoyed it. This podcast. If you do, please hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the story or the little podcast. Hope you enjoyed me sharing my experience with you on this stuff. And of course, subscribe and share. Leave a comment. It's all good stuff. Guys, like I always tell you to do, man, be a light in somebody's darkest day. Be the light. And somebody could be having a bad day. A hello from you could brighten their day, and you become the light. You lighten up their day. Just saying hi. Just do it. Be somebody's light in somebody's darkest cloud. Do unto others as you want to be done to yourself. Be good. Be nice to one another. Respect one another. No matter what your opinions are, differences are. If you just be nice and respect each other, 9 times out of 10 they're going to respect you back. So, yeah, guys, until the next one, stay tuned for the pictures. Ta-ta.